Hello guys, and welcome back to Brief Tune. Most of us have watched the last episode of our favorite shows. However, we never actually knew what happened to the characters from the original shows. Only because while some official series ended without a definitive conclusion for the characters, their legacy continues through crossovers, fan theories, and the imagination of fans. So, let's start with the Powerpuff Girls. The last time we see the girls is when they're arguing over the monsters that they fought throughout the series, when they realize that this is what they do and that they make the city of Townsville special. They bid goodbyes to the viewers, and this serves as a fitting end to their adventures. But fan theories and adaptations have something else to say. The canceled live-action adaptation hinted at a more mature exploration of their lives with more mature themes, such as anxiety and the pressures of adulthood. Blossom was described as anxious, Bubbles as initially fame-seeking, and Buttercup as trying to shed her superhero identity. This portrayal indicated a significant shift from their childhood personas, focusing on personal growth and the impact of their past. It also suggested that they would need to reunite to save the world again, reflecting on their childhood experiences and responsibilities. On the other hand, fan interpretations keep their legacy alive by saying that the girls continued to fight crime and protect Townsville. Ed, Edd, and Eddy. The last time we see the boys trio is in the movie released in 2009. It's about when Ed, Edd, and Eddy go on an adventure to locate Eddy's brother's whereabouts. When they find Eddy's brother, he's revealed to be physically abusive towards Eddy, unlike how Eddy described him, which exposed his lies. Despite this, the gang accepts him and their friendship remains the same. In the end, Ed returns home, and that's pretty much it. However, fans have many speculations. For instance, in the crossover episode titled Ed, Edd, and K&D, the Eds accidentally create a portal to the Kids Next Door universe, showcasing that the Eds continued to have adventures beyond their series, possibly becoming involved in more fantastical scenarios.
What do you mean you're broke? Hey, if you're looking for charity, call Kids Next Door. They're cheap.
Some fans think that after the events of their series, it's likely that the Eds returned to their usual antics where they would continue to pursue their schemes to earn money for jawbreakers and become successful entrepreneurs when they grow up. Another batch of fans think that as the characters age, they will eventually face the realities of growing up. This could mean moving on from their childhood antics and finding new interests. Johnny Bravo. In the last episode of Johnny Bravo titled Get Stinky, Stinky Brownstein, Johnny's childhood bully, returns to town and expresses romantic interests. Now, while there hasn't been a new series of Johnny Bravo, the character did continue to appear in various forms, including spin-offs, movies, and crossovers, maintaining his popularity. As for the fans, meaningful connection with someone who appreciates him for who he is, rather than just his looks. Lilo and Stitch. The finale of Lilo and Stitch was rather a bonus that emphasized the importance of family. Lilo and Myrtle are working together to find buried treasure, leading them to encounter an experiment named Link, or X-251, which binds uncooperative individuals with a sticky substance. Myrtle, who is usually an antagonist, helps Lilo capture Link. Meanwhile, Stitch gets stuck to Nani, and Jumba becomes stuck to Pleakley, adding to the chaos. As the original series ended, the characters expanded through spin-offs and sequels, continuing to explore the adventures of Lilo, Stitch, and their friends. As for the fan theories, they suggest that Lilo will grow up to start an employment agency that matches each of Jumba's experiments with suitable homes or jobs. Now, this idea stems from her nurturing nature and her ability to see the potential in others, while Stitch will continue to evolve as a character in the live-action adaptation. Given his journey from a destructive alien to a loving companion, many hope to see further exploration of his emotional depth and relationships, particularly with Lilo and the other experiments. Courage the Cowardly Dog. The last time we see Courage is in the last episode titled Perfect, where Eustace criticizes Courage for his incompetence, prompting Courage to try to impress him and Muriel with the help of an elderly schoolteacher. Courage fails each test, but he finds reassurance from a fish in the bathtub, who tells him that perfection does does not exist. In the final test, Courage draws a surrealistic number 6, which angers the perfectionist, causing her to melt away in frustration. Fans suggest that Courage's purpose will remain the same, which is protecting his family, meaning that he would confront more of his fears and still meet new characters and experiments. Dexter's Lab. In the last episode of Dexter's Laboratory, titled Last But Not Beast, Dexter accidentally creates a giant monster while trying to impress his classmates, leading to chaos in the city, and he tries to manage the situation while dealing with his sister Dee Dee, who inadvertently complicates matters. Ultimately, he does manage to defeat the monster. As for his future, well, not much could really be said about it. Fans only speculate that he would become a big scientist and maybe get married. Steven Universe. In the last episode of Steven Universe, titled The Future, Steven, who is dealing with the aftermath of a traumatic experience, decides to leave Beach City for independence. He shares this decision with Connie, but hasn't told the crystal gems yet. As he prepares to say goodbye, he gives heartfelt gifts to the gems. Initially, the gems take his departure lightly, but after Steven confronts them about their reaction, they express their sadness and assure him they will always be a part of his life. The episode concludes with Steven driving away, symbolizing his growth and the start of a new chapter, while the citizens wave goodbye. So, what happens after his departure? Well, he crosses the country to find himself and explore his identity outside of his role as a protector of the gems. Although he is physically away from Beach City, Steven maintains connections with his friends and family. Anyways, some other fans theorize that Steven may take on new responsibilities, possibly involving mentoring younger gems or humans, which signifies a shift from being a protector to a guide, reflecting his growth and maturity. Overall, the series leaves Steven's ultimate fate somewhat open-ended. CatDog. In the last episode of CatDog, titled CatDog, Cat becomes frustrated with being a two-headed creature and decides to undergo surgery to separate himself from Dog, believing that this is gonna solve his problems. However, Dog is resistant to the idea as he loves being with Cat and refuses to go through with the surgery until Cat convinces him that it is for his sake. Ultimately, when faced with challenges, Cat realizes that he simply cannot live without Dog. I think this does not give a single chance to their separation speculations. I mean, their life wouldn't be the way that it is in the show, and they would probably end up dying. Angelica Pickles. We still see Angelica Pickles after the original Rugrats series in the spin-off, all grown up. So, we do not need fan speculations and theories to know what happened to her. But here we go anyways. Her life takes a dramatic turn as she gets engaged to a college football star shortly after starting university. However, this relationship quickly becomes abusive, with her husband using financial control over her. Angelica also struggles with addiction while trying to cope with the pain of her abusive marriage, which ultimately leads to a painful divorce, leaving her with little to nothing after the separation. After hitting rock bottom, Angelica enters drug rehab and enrolls in classes at a local community college to finish her education, all the while navigating the relationship with her mother, which has become strained as her mother feels guilty about the circumstances that led to Angelica's struggles. She also still maintains contact with her childhood friend Susie Carmichael, although they often clash over political and cultural issues. Phineas and Ferb. The last episode of Phineas and Ferb, titled Last Day of Summer, takes place on the final day of summer vacation. Phineas and Ferb plan a grand tribute to their summer adventures, while Candace is determined to finally expose them. She encounters Dr. Doofenshmirtz, who has created the Do-Overinator, allowing them to relive the day. As they go through a time loop, Candace realizes her obsession with busting her brothers is causing chaos. Ultimately, she decides to just enjoy the day with Phineas and Ferb instead. Now, apart from the spin-offs and movies that did not imply anything about their future, fans believe that Phineas and Ferb will continue to create incredible inventions as they grow older, and that Candace will come to appreciate her brother's creativity and stop trying to bust them. As for their romantic life, in the series, Phineas and Isabella confess their feelings and decide to attend the same college together. There are numerous stories depicting Phineas and Isabella getting married, but it was never canon. However, we can't can't say the same for Ferb. In canon and extended narratives, it is revealed that Ferb and Vanessa eventually get married and they have a daughter named Victoria. The Fairly Odd Parents. In the last episode named Timmy's Secret Wish, Timmy Turner is aged 50 years by Father Time at the request of the Fairy Council, who discovers he wishes to remain 10 years old forever while everyone has aged along with him. Timmy teams up with Denzel Crocker, who has not aged due to past trauma, to reunite with his fairy godparents Cosmo and Wanda. In a climactic moment, Timmy sacrifices himself to save his fairies and friend Poof, who had been erased from existence. The Fairy Council ultimately reverses the aging effects, restoring Timmy to his original age of 10. Now, for after the show, in a live-action film trilogy, Timmy is portrayed as a 23-year-old who still refuses to grow up in order to keep his fairy godparents. However, he matures significantly and becomes a fairy himself, allowing Cosmo and Wanda to become the fairy godparents of 2 children mistreated by his former babysitter, Vicky. In the spin-off series, Timmy is depicted as having moved on to college, suggesting a new chapter in his life away from the fairy adventures after he passed on his fairy godparents to his cousin, Viv Turner. SpongeBob. SpongeBob initially feels disheartened and considers moving back in with his parents due to his struggles in Bikini Bottom. However, he ultimately decides to stay and becomes the new manager of the Krusty Krab 3, marking a new chapter in his life. The episode concludes with a heartwarming moment between SpongeBob and Sandy, leaving viewers with a sense of closure and happiness for the characters as they move forward together in Bikini Bottom. Now, some fans speculate that as the series continues, characters like SpongeBob and his friends may experience more mature storylines reflecting on their growth. Some other fans speculate that SpongeBob is exploring advanced technology and futuristic scenarios in Bikini Bottom since he has been taken into a futuristic setting. Alright everybody, that was it for today's video. We hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to let us know about your own theories in the comments section regarding these characters. We'll see you guys in another video.